Welcome to video 8 of the Introduction to IFS, or Internal Family System Theory. And in this video, I want to focus on this: self-leadership. I want to focus on what self-leadership is and what healthy or unhealthy self-leadership is, and how we get from this, a place where parts want into all sorts of directions, towards a more aligned system where self is the leader. So in the last videos, we already covered quite a bit of ground regarding self. And one of the places we got to was saying that self is the natural and capable leader of our system, meaning that as we are connected to self and self-energy, that is the place we should lead in our system from. And it's actually something that parts, even extreme parts, can respect and can align towards. So self is the natural leader of the system, and self has the capacities to lead. To understand this more deeply, I think we have to understand that as humans, so as these, we are motivated systems moving towards goals and values. We are constantly in our life moving towards what we think is good and moving away from what we think is bad. We don't even have to think about that. If we are at a buffet and that food seems desirable to us, we will try to get that food. We will try to get a job that we think will get us closer towards the life we want, etc., etc. So we are constantly orienting towards and moving towards things we value and goals we have, even if a lot of those goals and things we value are unconscious. Now, the thing is, parts, both protectors and exiles, have their own motivations and goals. We talked about that when we were talking about parts are a little bit like little people inside of us, and they have their own motivations, their own goals. Protectors are trying to avoid certain things or achieve certain states, and exiles are often cut off and wanting to be seen. These extreme parts have their own motivations and goals. And this is at the bottom of unhealthy leadership in our system. So if we have an unhealthy leadership in our system, we will have a few different elements within that. Number one, our parts and subpersonalities are not integrated. So different parts of us want to move towards different directions. They want to achieve different things, and they will be in a state called polarization, which is also something I talk about in another video, meaning they are moving into different directions and they are not integrated. This will often lead to parts taking over. So parts will take over the seat of consciousness, they will take over the system, and to some degree fight each other over who takes over, who can lead right now. So these parts are polarized, and one of the things that then often happens along with that is that in that state we will be in relationships and interactions with people where we are enmeshed, because parts need other parts from other people, and we are in challenging, tricky places. That is often what happens in unhealthy leadership in our system. And in a summary, we could say, in this, parts are working very hard and self is not leading, which is usually not a very healthy state. Now, let's compare that to healthy leadership and healthy self-leadership, which already has a different drawing. When self-leadership is healthy in our system, we will, number one, have integrated and aligned parts. This has two elements to it that are important. The aligned parts, meaning that we will have higher goals, higher not in the sense of better, but higher integrated goals within us, often goals that we want to move towards from a healthy self place. And our parts and our protectors are more or less aligned. They are not always 100% aligned, but they're moving in the same direction as that higher goal, as that self goal. So that means they are aligned with the flow of life force. Now, the integrated part has two elements. Protectors can be integrated when they've let go of their very extreme role and are in a more healthy role, helping us move forward in life. And exiles can be integrated, number one, through being unburdened, maybe completely, maybe to some degree, and thus in a healthier quality. But it can also be that sometimes there will be exiles that are not immediately unburdened, but that are just better integrated into the system so that they're not as exiled, that they might still carry a burden, but that's okay. And that through this, the charge in the whole system is way down because the protectors don't constantly think they need to protect from it, because the exiles and the also healed exiles are much more part of that. This means there can be a balance between different parts. So it might be that these two parts have different qualities, but as they move more or less towards the direction of our higher goal, both of those qualities can be integrated, they can both be important, and in that, their natural strengths and energies and capacities can be utilized and valued. And this can mean that the natural energies of the system really align, and in this, all of this is only possible if self is the leader, meaning that self and us connected to self can have a goal, can move towards it, and a negotiator, meaning there will be situations where these two parts might be in a conflict, and self can negotiate that, meaning that in times of inner conflict, self can be the entity and the power to negotiate between parts. For that, we can look at self as a leader. So for self to be a leader in the inner system, number one, the foundation of that are the qualities of presence, the 8 C's, last video. From these qualities of presence, self can hear or see, understand, and be present with parts. So really see, oh, that's what you're trying to do. Oh, that's what you're scared of. Here is where you differ. Here's where you want the same. Self can negotiate between parts. It can acknowledge the different parts, meaning, oh, you're important for that. You've done so much for me. Thank you. But for this situation, I need to try a different strategy. What do you need to be able to try this with me? And in this acknowledging, appreciating, also negotiating with parts around, we need a different way of dealing with this. What do you need? Is there something you need to release? Is there something you need from me that can help you to deal with this situation differently? And that's the job of self. So all of these things are what make self a powerful leader in the system. The presence, the acknowledgement, the negotiation, etc. And one of the main goals of internal family system therapy is to enable people to have more self-leadership in their life, to have more of their self in charge, to have the self be able to help the different parts so that people can become empowered and become independent of therapists, but working with their own parts and really integrating towards a better organized life. And that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed this. If these videos are helpful for you, please forward them, share them with people you think who might enjoy them, and see you in the next video series. Now, this is the last video of this series. That went quick. I hope this series was helpful to you. And see you in the next series where we really explore IFS as a therapy.
You never know what's around the next corner.